Hello Lord of the Rings fans, it's Ryan the Cyber Hobbit here. Time for another statue unboxing. This is a brand new miniature statue from Weta Workshop titled Gandalf the Grey Wizard. Now if you're familiar with Weta's line, you may already know they've already released a Gandalf miniature before, but this is a new version that's in a different pose and is in the same scale as their already released Saruman miniature statue. And now let's unbox it. This is really cool. I think I much prefer this pose than the sitting version. Let's take a closer look at the face. Not bad. I think the paint job on his face is pretty nice. I will admit the beard could maybe have a little dry brush added to it. Maybe of a little lighter gray to add some dimension, as it does kind of look all one color. But I think the face sculpt itself is pretty accurate, considering the scale of this. A nice job on the sculpt and paint of the hat. Looks like a hat. The clothing looks pretty good. I love that you can easily see the texture of his wizard robe. A really nice color to it. Though something does seem a bit off with the paint job on his belt and straps. I don't know what it is exactly, but they look kind of flat. And if I'm being extra critical, he sure does have a dirty hand. I do like the addition of his sword Glamdring poking out a bit. And also his staff looks pretty nice. Though it isn't attached at the bottom like Saruman's. That makes it a bit flimsy, which is prone to break easily, so take caution. Speaking of the bottom, there's a bit of nice weathering at the bottom of his robes from it dragging in the dirt for thousands of years. And if you look really closely, you can just barely see the tip of his shoe sticking out. Gotta love the small details. And under the base you can find the name and the signature of the sculptor. And apologies if I mispronounced this, but Zhao Gong. So overall, I think this is a great little statue. There's definitely a few small things I'd pointed out, but I do think of those as minor. And this guy looks even better when you pair him up with the Saruman miniature. I will say though, if I had to choose between this and the Saruman, I would definitely still pick the Saruman, as I think that's possibly one of the greatest miniature statues Weta ever made. And well, yeah. I decided to go ahead and get the other Gandalf miniature so we could do a proper comparison. I'll just bring one of them to work with me. After a quick unboxing, wow, it's amazing how different this is. Just to clarify, this one is called Gandalf while the other is called Gandalf the Grey Wizard. And as you can see, the scale of it is much different. It's actually much bigger than the other statue, and it weighs much more too. The face sculpt on this one is also pretty nice. There's much more detail in especially his eyebrows and beard than the other, but I think that's because of the size. Since it's bigger, they have the room to add more detail. I also like that with this one they added some paint for his lips and eyes. That was sort of lacking in the other one. The paint job on his robes with this one does seem a bit off. If you compare it to the photos they show on their website, it should be a bit more gray-bluish than this almost purple color that I see here. I know I'm using a warm light, but it's still far from what I was expecting. I do still like it, but it was just a bit of a surprise. I will say though, it is very shiny. On his base, he's sitting on a nicely painted rock, and on the bottom of his base, it has the name of the sculptor, Stephen Saunders. In general, I think the hair on this is better painted and sculpted. Also, just having unboxed the other Gandalf the Grey, I do miss the texture that was all over his clothing. Don't get me wrong, this one is nice, but I do prefer the other. So for me, the old Gandalf has the better head, but the newer Gandalf has the better clothes and better pose. Also, this one being on the same scale of Saruman is really nice, as it'll look good displayed together. Let me know which one you prefer and why in the comments below. I'd be really curious to hear. I think my favorite of the two is the newer standing Gandalf, but I say that because I have Saruman to pose him with. If I didn't have Saruman, I think I would prefer the bigger and nicer head sculpt of the older Gandalf. I'm actually pretty happy with both of them. They're great little statues. But I'll probably keep the newer standing Gandalf the Grey in my collection here displayed with Saruman, and bring the sitting and more relaxed Gandalf to my desk at work. I give both of these statues an 8 out of 10. Nice job, Weta. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button. And if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to stay notified. Until next time, bye-bye.